Oh boy, has Mourinho got to be stressed after this weekend's matches. But more on that later, because on this edition of Rabona TV's Weekend Recap, the most comprehensive recap of football news and results on the internet, we're going to be starting in Germany. And hey, if you're finding us for the first time and you like stuff like this, plus football explainers, biographies, FIFA content, watch-alongs, and more, then hit that subscribe button, fam. Do people still say fam? Hey! Remember last week how I gave you that useless stat about Bayern Munich not losing during Oktoberfest in 28 matches? Well, on Friday, Hertha Berlin had something to say about that. In fact, Hertha Berlin has had a lot to say so far this season, as with a 2-0 win over Bayern Munich this past Friday, as I said, not only did they stop their coveted 28-match unbeaten streak during Oktoberfest, but they extended their own solid start to the season that sees them on equal points with Bayern Munich in second. That's right. Bayern in second place, Hertha in third. Honestly, Bayern Munich are not looking tip-top these days, and I'm definitely not trying to take anything away from Hertha Berlin, but Bayern are looking like they really need a revamping of their squad. And of ideas. I know it's still early, but just like I wasn't convinced with the appointment of Peter Bosz for Dortmund last season, I'm really not convinced by the appointment of Niko Kovac for Bayern Munich this season. A club of that stature needs a coach that matches it, or at least has done more with a lesser team in the Bundesliga. And granted, I know that Kovac has won the DFB Pokal, doing so last season against his future, well now current, team. But he was appointed before then, without winning anything in his managerial career. With Eintracht Frankfurt, he managed them to a 16th place finish in his first season, though he was appointed in March of that season, so it doesn't really count. In his second, he finished 11th and took them to the Pokal final. In the third, he finished in 8th, decent, and won the Pokal. But a guy who has an average win percentage of less than 50% at 46-ish% from Eintracht Frankfurt and RB Salzburg, is he really the guy to take Bayern to the next level, or at least maintain their winning ways? I guess we'll see, but I personally don't see a nice ending to this for Kovac. But what do you guys think? The team that's ahead of Bayern in the standings right now, Borussia Dortmund, who are yet to lose a match this season. In fact, of the 9 matches that they have played across all competitions this season, they have won 7 and drawn 2. And the thing is, they haven't even looked like the finished product at times, and yet they are still able to find a result. Now, however, with them finding their form and starting to fall under coach Lucien Favre's spell, things are looking tasty in Dortmund. So tasty, in fact, that they followed up their midweek smash of Nuremberg, which they won 7-0 with a very comprehensive 4-2 win over Leverkusen. Considering they were 2-0 down at halftime, it makes it all the better. But the introductions of Paco Alcacer and Jadon Sancho really made the difference. In fact, Jadon Sancho grabbed a brace of assists, taking his tally to 5 in just 6 substitute appearances so far this season. Add in his 1 goal, and you get a goal involvement of 6 from just 125 minutes of football. And a shout out to Paco Alcacer as well, as he has scored 3 goals in just 2 substitute appearances. 50 minutes of football, 3 goals. Dortmund are looking strong this year. And that's without me even mentioning Pulisic, Royce, Achraf Hakimi, who's looked incredible for them on loan from Real Madrid, and 20-year-old forward Jakob Larsson. Keep your eyes on these guys. Elsewhere in Germany, Julian Nagelsmann lost to his future team, RB Leipzig, 2-1, in what must have been a somewhat awkward match at his current home. Hoffenheim's domestic form, or just form in general, I guess, considering they drew with Shakhtar, is a little bit all over the place. They did start slowly last season as well, only to find their form after the winter break, so again, watch this space. Things could change pretty quickly for them. And finally, Schalke actually managed to get a win in the league, but it only moved them from bottom to second from bottom, as they held Mainz to a 1-0 win at home. Perhaps a deserved win though, as they were pretty unlucky at times, hitting the woodwork on 2 occasions. Okay, enough of Germany. Let's hit France now, where a somewhat decent matchup occurred between PSG and Nice. But it only looks decent on paper, and maybe if you were looking at said paper a couple of seasons ago, as a Nice without Balotelli is really a toothless Nice. On this occasion, it was no different, with PSG rolling out as 3-0 winners once again. Neymar continued his sparkling start to the season by grabbing a brace on the day, taking his tally up to 9. In fact, he's been involved in at least 1 goal for PSG in every single one of their Liga matches this season. Actually, there was only 1 match that he has failed to contribute with either a goal or an assist in this season, and that was because he played only 14 minutes as a substitute. And as I spoke of last week, part of this dominance is due to their Liga just being rather shit lately. Let's be real, one of the teams who was supposed to give PSG some trouble, AS Monaco, are completely bereft of any quality at the moment, as they were winless in their last 7 matches, sitting second from bottom. Yes, they lost again this weekend, this time to Saint-Etienne. This is their worst start to a Ligue season for over 40 years now. Saint-Etienne, by the way, they're doing quite well. Happy to see them up near the top of the table. Lyon only managed a 1-1 draw with Nantes, so they're already 10 points behind PSG after 8 matches. Another team that was supposed to provide some competition for PSG, Marseille, found themselves getting gazumped by Lille, who are absolutely flying right now. With Lille's big 3-goal blitz in the second half, they blanked Marseille and leapfrogged the rest of the chasing pack into second place. 5 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses so far this season for them, as they ensure that PSG's lead at the top is, well, only 8 points. Come on, France. Let's get better here. All right, let's go to Spain now, where Sevilla managed to get their 3rd win in a row. Props to them, as they defeated Eibar away 3-1. The man who couldn't get a game at Milan, Andre Silva, scored once again for the Andalusian side, taking his tally up to 7 goals in his first 7 matches. If he keeps this up, then Milan will be ruining the decision to put the option to buy Silva at the end of this loan for Sevilla. Valencia, after 4 straight draws in La Liga, finally got their first win of this La Liga season with a 1-0 win over Real Sociedad, away as well, which doesn't say much for Valencia, but it does speak to Real Sociedad's terrible home form. They're winless from 3 matches. But as for Valencia, it was their 2 new arrivals, Cheryshev and Gamero, that combined for the goal. Could this be the turning point in their season after a pretty pitiful start? I'd like to think so, considering they have a chance to extend their great form against some bottom feeder club called Manchester United. I'm joking, but it is a good opportunity for Valencia to get 2 wins in a row, one of which being against a big European team in Manchester United. As for the big boys, Real Madrid and Barcelona, for the 2nd straight match day, they have done each other the favor of matching each other's results. Last match, they both lost. This match day, they both drew. Barcelona at home to Athletic Bilbao, while Real Madrid hosted Atletico, and they also drew 0-0. With those results, that means that Barcelona are winless in their last 3 La Liga matches, which has got to be frustrating for their fans, but still hold on to the top spot. Despite that though, they've allowed both Atletico and Sevilla to gain some ground on them and Real Madrid, as Barca and Real lead at the top has been cut down to just a single point. Okay, let's shine some light on the Eredivisie. That's right, Bonus League. As PSV continued their absolute dominance of the league with their 7th win from 7 matches, this time casually dealing with NAC Breda 2-0. Luc de Jong continued to exhibit his sparkling form with yet another goal, his 5th in 7 matches, while promising youngster Steven Bergwijn took his goal involvement up to 6 from 7 matches, the same as de Jong with an assist against Breda. There are actually 3 teams chasing PSV, not exactly closely though, but still within 5 points in touching distance: Ajax, Feyenoord, and Heracles. After getting embarrassed 3-0 by PSV last weekend, Ajax returned to their winning ways with a 2-0 win away to the newly promoted Fortuna Sittard. Kasper Dolberg scored what would be the eventual match winner, which was also his first goal for Ajax this season, after a bit of an injury-riddled last 9 months or so, although he did score on the last day of the season last season. Heracles continued to raise eyebrows with their solid start to the season as they defeated FC Emmen at home thanks to 2 goals in the first 7 minutes of the match. It wasn't pretty, but they won't care, as after finishing in 10th last season, they'll be happy to hang out with the big boys for as long as possible. And with Christopher Peterson in the form that he's in, 8 goals and an assist from 7 matches, then don't be surprised if they hang around close to the top for a while. And finally, Feyenoord won a rather tough matchup against Vitesse that saw 3 players get sent off, with the winner coming courtesy of Robin van Persie's absolute banger of a free kick in the 88th minute. How did Van Persie celebrate getting the match winner? By getting himself sent off just 3 minutes later with a terrible studs to the ankle tackle from behind. Pretty stupid, considering his team was both a goal up and a man up already, and he made his tackle on Vitesse's half of the pitch. It doesn't make sense. All right, enough Eredivisie. Thank you for showing up in our bonus league section. Let's hit Italia now, as Juventus grabbed a laborious but relatively easy, emphasis on the relatively, win over Napoli, which was one of the marquee matchups of this weekend in Italy. Juve actually started quite poorly, with Napoli exposing a lot of gaps in their shape and taking the lead thanks to Dries Mertens. They could have taken the lead even earlier than that had Zielinski's mathematics been a bit better and he had scored instead of hitting the woodwork. He got his calculations so wrong on that shot. But as the match went on, Juve came more and more into it, with Mario Mandzukic heading home an inch-perfect cross from Ronaldo in the 26th minute. Then he was at it again just after the half as he converted a rebound into the empty goal. The rebound, by the way, came from Ronaldo's shot that went off at the post. And Ronaldo wasn't done there, as he climbed the highest from a corner to flick the ball towards the far post for Bonucci to put it away to kill the game off. 3-1 Juve. In that game, considering Juve had a 3-point lead at the beginning, the gulf between them and Napoli is already at 6 points now. Ronaldo's goal contribution has dropped to under 50% of his matches, which is bad by only his standards, but he has now contributed with 4 assists so far, meaning he has more assists than he does goals. A rare moment in his career. Savor it, because it probably won't last long. Elsewhere, Roma hosted Lazio for the Derby della Capitale, and hey, if you haven't seen it yet, then be sure to check out the Roots of the Rivalry video I did on this matchup. Some history, how Mussolini is linked to Lazio, the reason as to why their fans are so violent with each other, etc. It's a good watch, in my opinion, and that of those who have watched it. So you should watch it. Well, after this match, Rome was red and yellow, with Roma coming out as 3-1 winners over Lazio. Roma took the lead thanks to a backheeled goal, yes, another one from them this week, from Pellegrini this time, before a mistake from Fazio allowed Immobile to score. Then, Kolarov, the former Lazio player, smashed home a free kick. Fazio made up for his earlier mistake, however, by heading home from a free kick to polish off a solid week for Roma. 2 wins in a row. Inter have done one better, actually, as they defeated Cagliari 2-0 to get their 3rd win in a row, and move up into 4th place thanks to goals from new boys Matteo Politano and Lautaro Martinez. Things are turning around for Inter. And finally, AC Milan had a huge 4-1 win over Sassuolo away. That's 3rd place Sassuolo to you, who's probably going to start free-falling at any moment now. But regardless, it was a welcome win for Milan, and only their 2nd of the season as they improved their record, which was threatening to turn them into the lords of the draw. Roll up the sleeves here to bring it home. All right, let's finish up with some quick stories from the Prem. First off, in the biggest match of the weekend, Liverpool and Chelsea played to a draw, as Eden Hazard continues his incredible form with his league-leading 6th Premier League goal of the season. But what is dead may never die, and despite Klopp's love for Sarri in that budding bromance, he wasn't about to just let him have the win. And Daniel Sturridge scored for the 3rd match running for Liverpool. And against Chelsea, he was only on the pitch for 4 minutes. I don't know, I think he's made a great case to be the starter, but I guess Klopp is hoping that the Mane, Firmino, and Salah magic will be found once again. Salah, by the way, not doing much to quell the one-season wonder claims from opposing fans, with some poor play at times, but he still has basically 8 months left of the season to grab a few goals and turn his form around. That said, though he was really good in the first half against Chelsea, he sort of disappeared in the second and was subbed off for Shaqiri around the 60th minute, which is rare for Salah. I think he's going to be fine personally, but it is something to talk about. The 2 North London teams, Tottenham and Arsenal, both won by 2-0, with Spurs beating Brighton and Arsenal beating the punching above their weight Watford. It's amazing how the, oh my god, they're the next Leicester claims have really died down after they have gone winless in their last 3 matches. But another hyped team, Wolves, continued their solid run of form with a comprehensive 2-0 victory over Southampton, as Wolves are now undefeated in their last 5 matches and have key matches against Crystal Palace and Watford coming up next, both of which will be teams that Wolves will likely be fighting with mid-table, with the potential to maybe steal 7th for a Europa League place. Maybe less so with Crystal Palace, but underrate Palace at your own doom. Uncle Roy is not messing around, and he's not afraid to take the scalps of some bigger teams. If Wolves is a bigger team, I don't know. But of course, the biggest story of the weekend was Manchester United going away to West Ham and losing 3-1. United now have only 3 wins from their first 7 matches, which makes for the lowest point haul since the 1989-90 season. So, what do you guys think? Is Mourinho finished at United, as he has seemingly lost large chunks of the fan base, large parts of the locker room, and perhaps some of the backing from the board? That's 3. Will he make it to Christmas? Or maybe you think he'll be able to turn this around at some point? I mean, the next 2 matches will be absolutely crucial for him, in my opinion, as a failure to win against a somewhat struggling Valencia side in the Champions League would be a huge blow. Remember what happened against Sevilla last season? While anything less than a win against Newcastle United, who have 2 points from 7 matches by the way, would be an absolute haymaker to the Dome, thus delivering on the prophetic warning from clubs past of the 3rd season Mourinho symptom. And hey, that will just about do it for this video. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll have some FIFA 19 career mode coming out in the coming days, as well as some Champions League watch-alongs this week, so get involved, guys. My name's Adrian. Be sure to join our community and introduce yourself if you just found us for the first time. Don't just slink in here quietly and unannounced. And other than that, take care.